Can a white person say the N-word but not be considered a racist? I'm on the record reading it from a transcript of text messages in court more than 40 times. I came to the first instance and hesitated before looking at the judge, who is both an acquaintance and a black woman. She looked back at me and said, "I'm well aware of the word. Please read the transcript verbatim, including any offensive language." So, sometime in 300 years, historians will be going through old court records to get an idea of society in our era. And I'm afraid my sole contribution will be saying the N-word 40-ish times in a murder trial. If an actor playing a racist person, they do say it. And I think it's not considered racist because they were pretending and portraying a hateful person. Yes. But why? Like, I can wear a Nazi uniform and not be a Nazi. But why would I want to? You might find edge cases where a white person can say the N-word without being racist, but why would you want to? White dude here. I spent a lot of time in the hood. Had a bunch of black friends. They would call me their N-word. But I never used it. And I was never encouraged to use it. It's a simple sign of respect to avoid one word that has a lot of deeply rooted hatred tied to it. It would depend heavily on its use. Even still, it's incredibly disrespectful aside from the smallest handful of contexts. The simple answer to your question is yes. However, they can also say the N-word and be extremely racist. So the answer to that question is not really useful for anything. Knowledge, awareness, and intent are really the important things to suss out here, which unfortunately is way harder to do. I would say historians can say it in their professional line of work. The word is an integral part of the history of racism. Why is everyone in such a hurry to say the N-word? It's deeply offensive to lots of people, and people will assume you are racist for saying it. So, just don't. Okay, but the real question is, why do they want to use it? Not be considered a racist? Probably not. Not be a racist? Probably. Listen, I guess there are a few circumstances in which it would by technicality be socially acceptable. But why on earth do white people seemingly feel a desperate need to say a word that has had such a widely detrimental effect on an entire race of people? Like, yes, I understand there are certain circumstances where people don't care. But like, go into any majorly black metropolitan area and walk around trying to call people the N-word. Yes, even in a technically endearing way. And people are not going to respond well. So like, yes, I suppose if you are an actor or something there are technically ground under which you can say it. Do what you want at the end of the day. But I know that if I personally see a white person walking around spouting the N-word, I'm gonna think you're a complete ass at absolute best. You could get your ass beat at worst. I had many black friends growing up, and after we became close, some of them endearingly used the N-word to refer to me. Which is nice, but I would never reciprocate with it, and I know that they wouldn't be happy with me if I did. Why would I want to anyway? It's not my place, and there's so many other options for endearing things you can say to your friends. Just don't do it. Why white people want to use the N-word so bad, but there's really no upside to it. No, with very rare exceptions. It's a word that has immense historical implications. If you're using it in a way that doesn't respect that, then sure, you could be considered racist out of ignorance. An expression of art like rapping or slam poetry, underground sketch comedy seems to be acceptable still, as evident by the events I've been to. When my teacher read To Kill a Mockingbird, My answer to this is, nobody can tell you what to do. But in today's climate, I would be very careful about whether I think racial epithets are appropriate to you in front of anybody. Truth is, if you're already thinking it, it will come out some other way. As someone who grew up in the ghettos with a black community, we were taught that the word means homeboy and buddy. When this whole thing came out that no other race can say a word because that word belonged to only one race, my black friends kept reassuring the entire friend group that they really didn't give a F and actually encouraged us to continue to use it. We all know that there's definitely some black people who really don't give a F and even argue with other black people that to gatekeep a word after reclaiming it is stupid. Even some black people feel uncomfortable that the word is now only seen as something offensive to use outside of black people when they were comfortable to reclaim it as homeboy, bud, dog, and enabling other races, their friends use it because that's all it was. Now again it's just only offensive? This is stuff I hear from black people arguing to each other about this. To act like those conversations, arguments don't happen between black people amongst themselves or that it isn't happening at all is to be willfully ignorant and unwise. So really, it just depends on what type of black people are surrounded with. Some really take it personally, and some just really don't give a F about it because the word had its meaning reclaimed and switched into a new definition. So to have them treat the word like its definition didn't change over time, like most words, is just undoing all the work it took to reclaim and redefine it over the many years so that it can be used as more of an offense term. Again, it's just such an eye roll that everyone forgets our morals, perspective are all different to a degree. You can't act like your side is right without even hearing the other side, even from the same community, without immediately pulling the racist card. Sorry, some of you guys grew up having that word be used as a bad thing, but the black community I grew up in taught me it meant something different, because I'm sure their new definition of it is far more important than trying to use it as how white people did in the past. Try moving forwards in life with what already happened. Don't revert just because you're aware of something that already happened. Focus on what black people did about that rather than pretend black people never did redefine the word and letting other races say it because of it being redefined by themselves. Yes, technically, but it's just a word people should stay away from. To answer your question, only in very small circumstances that aren't really worth mentioning because of how niche they are. Actors in movies, etc. But on a related note, your definition of racism seriously lacks depth and nuance. You've nailed the broad and easy to identify part of racism, but you should do some reading into what systematic racism is to begin to understand the part that is slightly more hidden but much more insidious, widespread, and powerful.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.